Hi class. So today I'm going to make a video about rules for writers, and I have my online version of the book over here. If you have the paper edition of the book, I'm going to give the paper edition numbers as well. Um, this is Rules for Writers 9th edition. If you have any other edition, these page numbers will not apply, and you will have to find those page numbers yourself in the table of contents. So here in the table of contents, I want you guys to look on page 391, where it says writing papers in MLA style. And I would like you to put some post-its or to mark the pages of the parts for MLA, because we're going to be focusing on this all semester when we're turning in papers. So first of all, I want to jump a little bit to chapter 57, where it says MLA format sample research paper. So all your papers have to look like this sample paper, and I just want to go over this with you right now so you have an idea. Your last name and the page number is at the top. The whole paper is double spaced. You should use a size 12 font that's very natural, nothing extremely out of place like script. The heading is on the upper left-hand corner like this, and between the heading and the title of the paper, it should all be double spaced. Now, if you notice the in-text citations, these are called in-text citations. When you take a quote from your reading and you incorporate it in the text, that's called in-text citation. And what you want to do is you want to note that as you're reading these so that you can do the same thing on your paper. So your papers are all research based in this class, and you should always have your ideas and your work backed up by facts that you found. So here, if you look at this quote, the word like fanatics and radicals are put in quotation marks because that's not the actual words of the author. And the author gives credit for where the words come from. So it's from Lorraine Goodwin. And that's what it looks like. Also, if you are going to just use the internet, the database, the library database, if it's a web source, you don't need to put the page number in the text. You only need the page number if you used a print source. If you include a picture in your paper like this, you need to mark it figure 1, and I want you guys to note it says this graph shows that Americans, oops, something happened. This graph shows that Americans consume about 3 times more fats and sugars and twice as many refined grains as recommended, but only half of the recommended foods. Okay, so it explains something about the picture, and then in parentheses, the source is there. That is what I'm expecting from you when you incorporate pictures in your papers. If you look at the rest of the paper, there's a discussion about the picture, and you should have some sort of discussion. If you're going to include a picture in your papers, you should have a discussion about it, and you should know why you're incorporating that picture. So the rest of the paper shows you how the research is incorporated in different ways. I'd like you guys to take a look at this in your books so that you have some sort of reference on how to use MLA in a paper if you haven't done so in the past. So this is just a sample paper for you, and in the print book, the sample paper is on page 464. So you could get some post-its and some highlighters and mark that page so that you can go back to it and look at it just as a reference. And if you notice the Works Cited page, it's called Works Cited. Everything is in alphabetical order. and the information from your sources is listed here. If you use the library database, you can easily copy and paste from the articles onto your works cited page. But if you use a print source, you're going to have to do the typing of the information yourself. So this whole format is on it's on chapter 57. If you want to look at the basics of formatting, it's on page 464. And then you can look ahead of that, and it gives you some information. Now, the rest of the chapters, before that, documenting sources and how you do it in chapter 56. There is general guidelines for how to do in-text citations. So if you have the author named in parentheses, this is what it looks like. Author unknown, this is what it looks like. Page number unknown, this is what it looks like. One-page source, page number in a citation. So in the print version of the book, this is all on page 421. And if you look on page 423, I'm sorry, 428, if you have literary works, this shows you how to cite literary works in your book. This is for all the in-text citations. So you have to see what it is that you have to be able to incorporate that information into your work. If you get out of chapter 56 like this, let's go here. Okay, and we look into chapter 50, well, integrating sources. Chapter 55 tells you how to summarize, paraphrase. So if you don't know how to paraphrase, you don't know how to summarize, this is the chapter that you can use for reference. And then if you get out of here, chapter 53 talks about how to write a thesis and how to support your thesis. So on chapter 53A, which is on page 392, there's how to put a working thesis together and some guidelines to test your thesis. So what you want to do is you want to first come up with your thesis, you want to do your research, and then you want to put your paper together. And I would really recommend that you read this whole chapter on writing papers in MLA style. If you have questions about this chapter, you can always send me an email or put it on our discussion board, or you can go to the Writing Center to get help. But this is the reference in Rules for Writers that I'm expecting you to have read this whole chapter before you start writing your papers. And if you have any questions, send me an email or put the question on the discussion board or go to the Writing Center for help. Okay, bye.